our Kickass Lady of the Week is Melissa Ludtke. And probably have never heard of her. I had not. Okay. I had heard
Okay,
of.
now I don't feel bad because I definitely
You may have heard
does not
of
ring a bell.
this. I had not heard of her, but I had heard of the lawsuit in 1978 when a female reporter sued the Major League Baseball Commission in order to gain access to the locker rooms for reporting because she was saying her 14th Amendment was violated. She couldn't do her job, blah, 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 whatever. You may remember that. I remembered that.
Yeah.
She's that.
Oh.
That's Melissa. So that is kind of her claim to fame, if you will. That's what she's most known for. She was born in 1951 in Iowa, but she grew up mainly in Massachusetts. She had always had a passion for sports, and when she went into school for journalism, she just kind of decided like that was going to be her vein. She worked for ABC Sports. She's worked for Sports Illustrated. She's worked for, she did features for Time Magazine. She was, I want to make sure I get this long name right, but she was a writer and editor for the Neiman Reports magazine of Harvard University's Neiman Foundation for Journalism from 1998 to 2011. It's a big, long name to say, like she was very important in the journalism department at Harvard. She was executive director of the Schuster Institute for Investigative Journalism at Brandeis University from 2011 to 2013. And since then, she's kind of retired and she started writing books. So, like, not really retired.
But that sounds more enjoyable.
I guess it's her own schedule, I suppose. But what her kind of, like I said, claim to fame was 1978. She sued the Baseball Commission on the basis that her 14th Amendment rights were violated because she was denied access to the New York Yankees clubhouse while reporting on the World Series for that year. They eventually ruled in her favor, and women are allowed in the locker rooms now because of what she did then. She also received a couple of like crazy awards, like that I feel like mean I should know who she is, but I didn't know her name still, so that's where we're here. In 2010, she received the Yankee Quill Award, which is given to a journalist in the northeastern United States, New England area, but it's like the highest honor you can get as a journalist there. At Sports Illustrated, she got the front page report. At times, she got like a whole fucking slew of awards. Like, just there, we're not listing them all. There's like a fuck ton of them. And in 2012, she was nominated by New York University author L. Carter Journalism Institute as one of the most 100 important journalists of the last 100 years.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah. So, like, really, really, really important. Like I said, she's written a couple books. She wrote Locker Rooms and Quality with Integrity. And that was in 1979, which after her battle with the Major League Baseball Commission. And then in 1997, she wrote On Our Own, Unmarried Motherhood in America. So she's got quite her and her
diverse husband, there.
Yeah, her and her husband divorced, and she had a child, a daughter that she adopted from China. So she wrote a book about like being a single mom, basically. And she is currently writing a book now that she says will be her last, but we don't know what it is. So we'll see what that is. Maybe it's a baseball book, maybe it's a parenting book, maybe it's biography. I don't know. But she's definitely a kick-ass lady, and we can all thank her a little bit. And it's kind of a shame we didn't know her name, but now we do.
Yay.
So that's Melissa Ludtke.
Yeah. Accessibility for women in men's sports. I can't imagine how hard it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there was
and even still is.
Yeah, there was an article that, spoke to her about like what it was like, because once she won that court case, okay, now you have to go in there
Mm-hmm.
knowing they don't really want you in there, but you're in there. And she was actually very humble is not the right word, but I don't know what the word is. She almost kind of downplayed it
Mm-hmm.
and said, like, I definitely dealt with some stuff that wasn't pleasant. I definitely got letters. I definitely, was harassed to an extent, but I believe that women today have it harder. And I believe
Wow.
that, yeah, she said, I believe that sexual harassment is more in the eyes of the public today, and that it's sad that as public as it is, it's still as rampant as it is. She said, she has friends who still work in the sports industry who receive threats, not so much letters these days,
Get
but
texting Jared Porter every day.
yeah, she discussed that and like getting,
Well, you sent
know,
us a
like,
Twitter thread
threats of violence, and like, somebody doesn't like your review of their baseball player, so they send you like a email that says, I hope you get raped, or like horrible things like that. And she said, she's proud of what she was able to do to get us as women more access to the sport, but she is unhappy, I guess, with how long it's been, because that was 43 years ago. FYI, 42 years ago, 43 years ago.
Yes.
How in 43 years, how kind of little progress has been made. So,
well, you sent us a thread, and it was a female reporter, and I can't remember her name right now, but it was talking about how, like, the sexual harassment today that she has encountered has been more veiled. So it's almost like you can't even report it, because if you report it, they'll be like,
this
well,
is
they
nothing.
didn't rape you, so that's not, why are you complaining about this kind of thing, almost. Like, it's not a big enough deal to even say anything, but, oh, since you're so uncomfortable, don't go back in there kind of thing.
Yes.
So, like, it's almost...
Yeah, it's like, what?
I'm sure it was
just trying to do your
absolutely
job.
horrible then. Yeah, you're trying to do your job, but like now it's almost like the people who are disgusting enough to perpetrate that have gotten smart enough to get away with it more. Like, they know you can't blatantly sexually harass people, or fewer people blatantly sexually harass people.
Yeah.
I mean,
Still
Porter
happens, but
did. It still happens, but now it's more like these little snide remarks or whatever. So, like, because they know if you report it, it's going to be like, well, why'd you blow that up? Like, oh, he was just joking with
these
you.
little things
like,
that add up.
Right. He
Like-
take a joke,
like
or
two
why do you take your
unanswered
towel
text
off
message.
every time I walk past you? Like, you just happen to be doing that? Like,
Like,
no.
maybe 2 text messages unanswered is fine, but like 62.
No,
Yeah.
we're
Whoa.
not best friends. You don't get to do that. You're not my mom.
Yeah. I don't even think my
And
mom
definitely sending
sent
the
me
dick
62.
pic. With,
That's a wild move, bro. I appreciate
This
some
will change your
boldness
mind
every
for
now
sure.
and then, but
not that it matters,
is
but how the
wild.
story was written, it sounded like that came at the end of this string. So, like,
Yeah.
62 unanswered text, and then you're like, well, this is going to win her over.
This'll do it.
Here's
Will
the word to
never-
the wise, guys.
Never.
It has never won someone over.
No.
Ever. I don't care how impressive you think you are.
You're not impressive. I don't care how impressive you think you are. It's not that impressive.